لما أنتي نمهارو بزعبا حماماتي.
Today we're going to learn about Holy Week or ሕማማት. Okay, so on Monday, Jesus was hungry. So then he was looking around and then he saw a fig tree. So then when he thought it had fruit, so then when he walked up to it, he saw it only had leaves. So then Jesus said to the tree, "May you never bear fruit again." And then the tree withered. And then the disciples were amazed and asked, How did you make it wither so quickly?" Jesus said, "If you believe, you can say to this mountain, 'Go throw yourself in the sea,' and then it will be done. Anything you ask for in prayer, you will receive." So on Tuesday, religious leaders questioned Jesus. So Jesus was teaching in the temple when the religious leader came up to him and said, "Who gave you the authority to do this?" And then Jesus said, "I'll answer your question if you answer my question." And he said, "Did John the Baptist come from heaven or from the people?" The religious leader said, "I don't know." And then Jesus said, "There, I don't have to give you my authority." And Jesus continued on with about a story of two sons and one dad. So the dad wanted his sons to work for his company. So he asked his first son. His first son said, he asked, "Do you want to work for my company?" And his first son said no, but he felt bad. So he worked for him. But he asked the second son, and the second son said yes, but he never did it. The first son is representing the Gentiles, and the second son is representing the Israelites.
Wednesday is about how Judas betrayed or sold Jesus for 30 silver coins, and how and then you'll find it in Matthew chapter 21 verse 16.
So after Judas sold Jesus for 30 silver coins, the people, they took him to the court, and then the leaders they said, "Who should go? This prisoner Barbados, I think, or Jesus?" And then they all said, "Crucify Jesus." And then when they crucified him, they gave him a purple robe. I mean, before that, they took off his clothes and then gave him a purple robe. And then they gave Jesus wine, but then they grabbed the wine from a sponge and then they squeezed in the cup, and then Jesus finished and then said, "It is finished." And then Pilate wrote down the King of the Jews, or Israelites, one of those. And then the people told him that you should say, "The person who claims to be the king of the Israelites." But then Pilate said, "What I have written is written."
Thank you.
Now I'm gonna say what Thursday is, aka the Last Supper. So when Jesus came to this guy, he said, "Prepare a feast for us." And then he also told his disciples to help him. And then when they got it ready, Jesus came, and then he broke bread and then said, "Here, this is my body." And then when they ate it, Jesus said, Jesus gave them the wine, and said, "This is my blood." And then he said, one of you guys are going to betray me. It is the one who it was the one who the I think and yeah, and then the disciples were wondering who it is, and then Jesus whispered in Judah's ears. He said, "It is you who has betrayed me." And then Judas ran and cried. And then Jesus took them to the divine liturgy, and then he showed him the liturgy, and then Judas ran from the church, and then Satan came upon him. This also shows that when you go to church, you should take the Holy Communion, unless like you're going somewhere or something, or like playing a game outside, like yeah.
So after Jesus was prisoned, so I'm going to tell you about Friday, which is today. So this is when Jesus was crucified. So after he was sentenced to death, he was forced to hold a cross all the way to a mountain. And when Jesus was walking, he fell, and he met, and then he stood back up, and then soon he saw Mary, and Mary was crying, and then someone came to help Jesus lift up Simon came to help Jesus lift up the cross, but then he was forced to hold the cross. Another cross, but he wasn't getting crucified. So then Jesus fell another time. In total, Jesus fell 3 times. And when he made it to the mountain, he was nailed on the cross with 2 other people, which are criminals. And then Jesus died, and then he died for all of our sins. But after that, the temple cracked into 2, and the guards were saying he is really the Son of God. That is what happened on Saturday. But while Jesus was on the cross, one of the criminals said, "You shouldn't be on the cross." And then the other one said, "Remember us when you enter your paradise." But then Jesus said, "You both will be in the paradise with me." Now he's gonna say Saturday.
In Saturday, it was about how Jesus died on the cross, but as soon as he died, the moon turned red, the stars fell, and the sun turned dark, and how every tomb was open, and how something was cut into 2.
Adding on to what Essie said on the Good Friday, Good Friday, the first one actually said, if you are the Son of God, why don't you save us and yourself? But then the second one said, don't say that, because we are the ones who deserve to be on the cross. And then he asked Jesus, remember me when I come into your kingdom. And then Jesus said, I will see you in the kingdom of heaven. You say that then.
Yes.
Sunday is about how Jesus rose from the dead, and he didn't need anyone's help to open the tomb. He opened it himself.
And then an angel came, and there was an earthquake, because an angel came and he was sitting on a rock.
And then he said to the, and then when the men saw him, they were like dead men. They were frozen. And then the angel said to them, and also to Mary, you will find Jesus in Galilee, and then they went there, but then Jesus meted them, and then they clasped his feet, and then Mary was glad that he was alive. For ሕማማት, we remember Jesus dying on the cross and rising up from the dead.
Nesebbeho, nesebbeho le'Exhiaviher. Nesebbeho, nesebbeho le'Exhiaviher. Sebuha, 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 sebuha.
Since Arba'at is ending and it's gonna become Fasika Sunday, for the next 50 days, you can eat meat, eggs, whatever, except for pork, obviously. And even on Wednesday, Friday, you can eat. God bless you.